Commander Zix had witnessed the fall of 17 star systems. She had seen entire civilizations reduced to cosmic dust, watched as species that had dominated their galaxies for millennia simply ceased. The Devourers were not just conquerors, they were entropy given form, the heat death of the universe, made manifest and hungry. And yet, the human sitting across from her, in the cramped observation deck of the refugee vessel Sanctuary's Edge, was humming. Actually, humming. Marcus Chen, the human liaison assigned to coordinate the evacuation of the Kepler 442 system, tapped his fingers against his coffee mug in rhythm with his quiet tune. Through the reinforced viewport, the writhing mass of the Devourer fleet stretched across the starfield like a malignant tumor, their bioships pulsing with an otherworldly hunger that made Zix-Aera's chitinous exoskeleton crawl. The evacuation ships from the inner planets should reach the jump point in approximately 4 hours, Marcus said, checking his tablet with the same casual demeanor he might use to discuss the weather. The Devourer's advanced scouts are still 3 hours out. We're cutting it close, but we'll make it. Zix-Aera's forearms trembled involuntarily. Her species, the Vailter, had evolved from prey animals on a world where death came swift and silent. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, to run to the furthest corner of the galaxy, and hide until the Devourers had consumed everything in their path and moved on to whatever lay beyond. "Human," she said, her translator struggling with the harmonic undertones of her distress. "Do you not comprehend what approaches us? Those are not mere warships. They are the end of everything. They have consumed the hegemony of Zeta Reticuli, the machine consciousnesses of Vega, the hive queens of Altair. Civilizations that spanned thousands of years, reduced to raw materials for their endless hunger." Marcus nodded, taking a sip of his coffee. "Yeah, I read the reports. Pretty intense stuff." "Intense?" Zix-Aera's voice rose to a pitch that would have shattered glass on most worlds. "They devour not just flesh and metal, but the very concept of existence itself. They unmake reality as they pass. Star systems forget they ever existed. How are you so calm?" Marcus finally looked up from his tablet, and for the first time, Zix-Aera saw something flicker behind his dark eyes. Not fear, something else entirely. "You want to know why I'm not terrified?" Marcus asked quietly. "Yes. By the sacred malts of my ancestors, yes. Why aren't you running? Why aren't you screaming? Why are you humming?" Marcus set down his coffee and walked to the viewport. He placed his hand against the reinforced material, and Zix-Aera noticed for the first time the scars that crisscrossed his knuckles, old wounds that spoke of violence survived. "You know what's funny about humans?" Marcus said, still staring at the approaching nightmare. "We're probably the only species in the galaxy that evolved from persistence hunters. Most of your people, the Vailter, the Centaurians, the Andromedans, you all evolved from prey, or from predators that struck fast and disappeared. But humans? We evolved to chase our prey until it died of exhaustion." Zix-Aera's secondary hearts skipped several beats. "I don't understand the relevance." "We didn't develop the biggest claws or the sharpest teeth," Marcus continued, his voice taking on a quality that made the air feel colder. "We developed something much worse. We developed the ability to never stop. To keep going when every rational thought says to quit. To look at something that should kill us and say, yeah, but what if it doesn't?" The human turned from the viewport, and Zix-Aera saw that flickering thing behind his eyes fully manifest. It wasn't the absence of fear, it was something that devoured fear and converted it into fuel. "You're asking me why I'm not terrified of the Devourers," Marcus said, stepping closer. "But you're asking the wrong question." "What? What should I be asking?" Marcus smiled, and every ancient prey instinct in Zix-Aera's DNA screamed in recognition of something far more dangerous than the cosmic horrors approaching their position. You should be asking why the Devourers should be terrified of us. Zixara's translator couldn't pass the harmonics of confusion and growing dread in her voice. That's impossible. They've consumed everything they've encountered. They're entropy itself. Yeah, I keep hearing that, Marcus interrupted. Entropy, heat death, the end of everything. Real scary stuff. He picked up his tablet again. But here's the thing about humans and impossible odds: we've got this weird habit of taking things that are supposed to be inevitable and making them negotiable. You're insane, Zixara whispered. Probably, Marcus agreed cheerfully. But that's the beautiful thing about insanity. It's unpredictable. And the one thing predators hate more than anything else is prey that doesn't behave like prey. He tapped his tablet, and suddenly the observation deck filled with holographic displays showing fleet positions, evacuation routes, and something else. Weapon signatures that Zixara didn't recognize. Energy readings that shouldn't be possible. See, while you've all been running from the Devourers for the past 6 months, we've been studying them, learning how they think, how they move, how they consume, and we've discovered something very interesting. Marcus manipulated the hologram, zooming in on the bioships. They're not entropy. They're not some cosmic force of nature. They're just really, really efficient predators. And predators have one critical weakness. What weakness? Zixara found herself asking, despite every survival instinct telling her not to engage with the clearly unhinged human. Marcus grinned, and in that moment, Zixara understood why humanity had become the dominant species on a world full of apex predators. They've never had to deal with prey that hunts back. The evacuation ships reached the jump point with 7 minutes to spare. The Devourers arrived to find not fleeing refugees, but a carefully orchestrated trap that had been 3 months in the making. And for the first time in their existence, they learned what it meant to be afraid.